So, welcome everyone. This is a session on understanding the Indian philosophies. So, I would like to share with you those philosophies, and I've been lucky to go into a place called Dharamshala, where even Dalai Lama stays. It's not connected with the Buddhist understanding, but was a place where I could really understood the depth of the Indian philosophies. I mean, there's always so much more. But I thought I can then share with you why the because it really explores the whole spectrum. It's not like one way, this is the way. So, like, go believe in God, don't believe in God, believe in anti-God. Everything is kind of explored in this Indian philosophical spectrum. So that's the beauty of it. So no thought is left unturned to see if there is any gold nugget, gold in that, which could help improve the human life. So that's the essence of all the effort by all the people who have come before us, have very powerful intention. Like, compared to currently, a lot of us are driven because of profit, and we've been channelized in companies to a specific orientation or goal. While in olden times, it was more for the reason that they really wanted to see the humankind do much better. Uh, as not just self, but as a group as well. So that's my endeavor, and let's see how it goes. So I'll share my screen, and then let's see. This presentation, which is, as usual, just give me a second. I haven't tried clicking the present while I was sharing. I don't know if I have to stop sharing. Just a minute. Presentation is complete without hiccups. So, I hope it. I think the screen share of this versus the PowerPoint screen share might be it's giving some challenge. But
You're doing good, Ashok. Don't worry.
thank you. So yeah, I think now the presentation has started. So I was rather wanting to have more of a chat type, but I think this creates a structure. So it helps us to keep in track and be aware of the time as well. So this presentation is around the Indian wisdom. I mean, I'm always amazed. I came from, just to give you a background, I came from a very Western way of education where I studied in, like, learning about how ABCD becomes the first part of your learning curriculum, and then develop from there and have a like, you're kind of prepared for a war or race in life, and every aspect is tuned in such a way that you are not the decider of your own performance. It's externalized, so that you always have to continuously be in a kind of a we could call it as, I don't know if I can be also in the screen. It's a little bit challenging. So I would like to toggle between me speaking, and so yeah. So we would. So the idea is we become like a, as Shakespeare's have been said, we become like a more like a performer. So the idea is to move on from that role of us as a performer to be, what is it of life? What is it that we meant to do, or how to live a beautiful life for ourselves, and feel fulfilled at the end of it. When we are about to die, we feel like it was all worth it. So that's kind of the challenge which humanity always had. And while every effort by every government, every system is to bring that, but many time it fails because sooner or something people with more greed or more intense like personal intent takes over, and then that skews the whole purpose. So let's start with that. That's the background of me, and it's only around 40s that I really, when my business collapsed. I had a really good multi-million dollar business, and when it went under, I thought, oh, who am I? Because for me, like when I was grade 2, I know I already grade 1 is under my belt, grade 3 like college engineering. But once my business went, I thought, what was I doing for 15 years? Because I thought it's all under my belt and I got it all. So then I started to go for more my self-inquiry last 10 years into what am I, who am I, what gives me pleasure, what should I look for? All that type of questions started to come. So with now we go to the next slide. So in Indian, how people were very basic, like people in olden times were very kind of animism we call now, but it was basically to appreciate all the beauties of the nature, because that's the first thing which hits our eyes, the rivers, the trees, the fire. And then they were starting to uh, like it is very obvious that they would try to be in good terms with the nature. So they'll try to appease the nature through some rituals and all. And then ancestor also started to come, because the passed on knowledge started to become more and more valuable, because how to start a fire and all that was also giving them a lot of power to survive. So if you see aboriginals and indigenous people in Australia or any other country, they started to worship, ancestral worship became more and more powerful. And they always felt that spirit, they could connect with that spirit of ancestral land and ancestors, that it was all in there, so that they can tap into to give them the courage, give them the hope, give them power. Um, just let me accept. So that was the old way of living. It was very simple. It was so there was no like this the right way, wrong way, nothing. Like just make sure you are in working with the nature. So it was only from the indigenous people. I was wondering why they were not getting into agriculture and other things. One, they only used 2 hours of a day to survive. Mostly they were having enough rest and social gathering things, but also they used to consider Mother Earth as like, imagine the hair on the skin. So you're not meant to dig into the skin. So the trees or the things which is given out by the nature is the one you have to resource on. So they were so careful in not to destroy the or hurt Mother Earth that and it's amazing how far we have come from that original level of understanding. So Rigveda, the Vedas is kind of the consolidation of these books. They're not, before it was only hymns, before people used to sing, people used to dance around fire and those kind of things. Then once it started to become into books, so Rigveda is starting to consolidate all the older ritualistic um, things around cosmic powers, the fire, the sun, the ocean, the river, all those were very dignified and praised. So the Rig Veda came, then the Sam Veda is all the details of the performance, where now you can, when you go into some Indian ritual, like a Hindu rituals where they start to put fire, create a fire and sit around chanting, that's all coming from Sam Veda. Then Yajurveda is again, yeah, I think Yajurveda and Samveda. Samveda is more melodies and songs. We can call Gita and all part of Samveda, but Yajurveda is again around rituals. So Atharveda, it more became more scientific, more like a, oh, no, we don't want to go into things which are not very qualified and classified. So we started to become more systematic there, like That's where Ayurveda and others are sub part of the Atharveda. So where we started to say this is right, this is wrong. You can in the later stage you can see those steps start to define things before we go into the actual details of it. So it's more the classification, the more so this is where that Atharveda comes. So these are around 2000 plus years old. Rigveda is considered about 5000 years. And then it's also um helps create because people were moving from jungle like into wild to villages, so they need to have some system, because if people have to work in a group, there should be some kind of a collective understanding that we have to work through. So that's where these were starting to formulate originally. So they said there are four reasons of what we have to leave for: dharma, karma, kama, moksha. So we have to have some like a clear reasons of, like, if you decide to be a father, you have to basically take care of your fatherhood no matter what challenges come. If you start a business, if you take a role of something, so you have to make sure that is the dharma part of it. Then the karma is action. No point in just thinking and like idealizing, but more like getting into the field. Whether if you just think about making some crops and you don't put effort in the field, it's not going to happen. So similarly, your thoughts just start to become anxious and overwhelmed. So it's important that the action supports your thought process. So similarly, karma is this is samsara is written. Samsara is like is more generic. Karma is more again where you work on your pleasures and connection with the life beauties of the life. Whether if you want to pluck a flower, eat a meal, if you want to have sex, and all that part was part of the samsara. And then the final part is the moksha, where you have to interact with the world, but in a way where you are disconnected as well. Not disconnection, again, a lot of these words are not available in English, but it's more like a with a separation is a better word. So moksha is you connecting with the world, but with a separation. So it's like if a imagine a business person who is selling some kind of might be a drink, or he makes some beautiful dish, and if he's too attached to the dish, he cannot really do the proper sale of the dish. While if he's not attached to the dish at all, then he won't be taking care of making a beautiful dish and giving a pleasure to his customer. So there is that right balance in all that. So that's where the moksha says that you become aware of it without getting too entangled or too disconnected. So that's the right space of moksha. Again, there is a what it's also understood by that time, that we have a rhythm, like the nature has a rhythm and a system which it operates under, and we us as part of the whole rhythm. So we are not separate to the whole thing, but we have to also follow, like whether it's our body or our mind. So for example, if we hate something, so there is a opposite cause within us in our body because of that hate. So if I don't like that food, so like a lot of these immune disorders are coming off because of very strong negative urges from within. So these were the beauty understood at that time. And then again it started to, as anything, over a period it becomes messy, distorted and all that. And people this Vedanta was towards the end of like when about 2000 year or around 1500, like towards the towards the end of the BC and towards the early part of AD, 50 100 years. That's when Upanishad came. They started to summarize this whole aspect, because people don't have enough time, people don't spend enough time to understand and deeply take meaning out of all this, but they wanted to make bigger, like a more essence. What is the essence of this? More is so that I can teach this person in one sentence, one lecture, one day, a small 3 months course. Or so these started to happen because kids started to go to more organized schooling, which we used to call Gurukul. So then these philosophies started to summarize. So, and also it is at the time when Buddhism started to pick up and the structured schooling system started to happen, where the young kids used to go and stay with the teacher. And Buddhism became very popular because of the systems of taking care of the kid and inculcating good habits in the kids, because it's like a young mold, which you can change uh, as you require, so that when they are older, especially the ability to two core ability. One is the disciplining, so that they have less and less. Uh, like when you have all this option, your mind is all lost. So the disciplining is to bring the mind into a lot more control, so they can direct the energy in wherever they want to, and the consistency, so that they keep going. So not disciplining is not good enough as long as if there is no consistency. So you take small action continuously. So the schooling system started to become very popular. Then again, Buddhism got distracted, and I'll talk more about it. But Adi Shankaracharya was very popular, who revived the Hinduism in India. They say there was about 96% who moved into Buddhism at some time and started to believe in Buddha, where they totally destroyed the concept of God and Vedas, and all these are not going to support, because when things doesn't support, like how America is going through now, like everything, there is a lot of beauty in the systems they have created, whether it's democracy or value of life, but because things doesn't work, people throw the baby away with the dirty water. So that's the same thing happened, that Shankaracharya revived the Hinduism again, and then uh, so the concept was Advaita. The logic was people were spending a lot of time in worshipping God, or so they could never be. So there was a philosophy started to imbibe that if we are all same, why don't we? Why would we consider it different? Because if I consider, like it was in Australia, my teacher asked me, do you question in India? Do you question your teacher? We said, no, no, no. Teacher is already so much more knowledgeable. How would we question the teacher, like as in their authority type questioning? So then the teacher said, but if you don't question, how would you ever become a teacher? Because you have to know ins and out of what it is to be a teacher. So again, Advaita also brings that philosophy that if we consider we have the power of God, why don't we consider ourselves God and challenge ourselves to be of the caliber of the God? So it was very challenging concept, and but people took on to that, and then it is understood that the the Brahman is the universe, the what's happening, the energy which is moving the universe, and we Atman don't have the right. It has the kind of the essence of the universe, but we are also full of ignorance and confusion, which reduces us to play small into ourself. We call it as ego play or whatever. So, but we, in essence, we if we because we have the power to observe the thoughts, we are not the thoughts, so we are the observer, which is what the universe is behaving in. It's just action. So what is creations are happening, whether it's our thoughts or whether in reality what we are creating is then an illusion, which is like which is we perceive we it might as well be, if that core energy is not there, the illusion would be gone. So if I am not there, my thoughts are all gone. So it's kind of that Advaita, the oneness, the singularity idea started to happen around 200 BC, they say. Uh, so there were different aspect of it. People still continued with Dvaita Vedanta, which is separation, where you still believe, oh, you if you start believing you're God, people would then be arrogant and like not like really try to put the effort into growing. While if you keep it separate, then there is that much effort put into, oh, tomorrow I'll be a good person, or I'll have to still go a lot of things before I get to be a role model of some kind. So that is where Dvaita Vedanta continued, but Advaita is kind of the beautiful philosophy which, if people are already in that track, they can move on to the Advaita Vedanta philosophy to get into that oneness. I'll share more with that. In that, I'll just take a small break. I just wanted to see how is my pace and how you guys are relating with what I'm saying, my language, accent, everything put together. Any questions also?
I would just say that when you're talking to us, at least for myself, but just think as if I know nothing.
Ha, 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 ha.
And then to take it up from there, like whenever you're telling anything, and so that I can get more detail and more understanding. Because some of the things, I think you're thinking, okay, they might be knowing this much. If
Yeah.
it makes sense. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I
So,
just,
yeah, now you can bring out any questions. So that would be clear till this part. The things you thought was too much, or
ah, so
as long
I,
as it's a little bit over, I think I don't know how I'll go for an hour, but hopefully, yeah.
yeah, you won't be able to cover much if you can, if
Yeah.
you go deeper as well.
Yeah. So I don't know if should I go. It's a very interesting topic. Yeah. So I can get carried away. Just bring me back if you
No, no,
think.
you are not getting carried away. You are doing very well. You are doing very well.
Yeah.
Only thing, I don't know, just more details so that at least I don't know much. I don't hardly know anything about what all you are talking.
Ha,
Yeah,
ha,
I've
ha,
heard
ha.
Vedas and this and that, and yes, I've heard of it. I have, but I haven't read them. I haven't. So from that point of view, I mean,
Ha, 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 ha. So
yeah,
this is so even if you gain about 20% for me also when I did my
yeah.
first experience, it was not, it just gives you a holistic purpose.
Well, yes.
Again, like Ayurveda, don't assume that I couldn't pick up everything because that's not the aim also. But
Mm,
we just think, oh, there are these elements. So it's like this is the castle, and you see these are the rooms. You wouldn't know the details of the rooms, but again, it's just to show you the castle, and this is how the castle is
yeah.
built.
Actually, that's right. You are doing very well. Like, it's really good. So, thank you.
Yeah, any question, Veena? Also, just share anything
Not
you
at the
think.
moment. I'll ask definitely, but not
Yeah,
at the moment. I don't have a question
yeah,
stand.
and some things will start to reconnect in a while also.
Yes,
And
that's
when you're
right.
reading something or you seeing something,
Mm,
so let's see how it goes. And anybody else, any
thank
questions
you.
or any thoughts? Is it too technical, too complicated? So I can calibrate. If you have any doubt, just I think there's a couple of people in the chat. Hello, Christina. So yeah, so there's no other things to share. Then I mean nothing else in there in the chat. So I'll continue with my presentation. Let's see how it goes. And uh,
And the example of the dish that you gave, that was really beautiful. That if a person, they prepare a dish and if they don't detach from it, they can't sell it, they can't promote it. And if they don't love it, they are not going to make it nicely.
yeah, because
So
this
that
is
was
very
beautiful.
for a long time I used to think, oh, you have to detach with everything. So I shouldn't be liking that, or I shouldn't be connected with that. So I
Mm,
just wanted to bring those things into perspective of where they are trying to place, because many times we have been we get misguided ourselves by reading
mm.
some text without being supported with somebody explaining it who tried to walk on that path. Or
No, that was beautiful example. Thank you.
thank you, Vina. Thanks for acknowledging. So I'll go to the next step. You can see my screen again, yeah? So then it became
Yes, we
again,
can.
Yeah. So when it becomes, say, if something gets too hot, what would you be thinking about? If something with you becomes too hot, what would you be thinking about?
As in, like,
Like, say, if you have a hot weather, hot climate around you, or a hot cup of
of cooling down,
tea.
like doing the opposite.
Yeah, so this is very common of human that we don't think we want to go all the way out. You understand? So this is very, so you can see the human tendencies in everything around us. That's why there is no separation. You can see everything is kind of mixed into the same, whether it's Ayurveda, whether it's yoga, whether it's doing business, whether it's, you can start to bring these logics into the whole universe is working in that same principle. So when it became too much ritualistic and all, these philosophies started to pop up. Samkhya said, "Oh no, no, no! We have to go all logical. We have to have very defined way of doing things." Everything started to get more and more defined. Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. No, these are the steps we have to take. There are 24 these things, principles, and you understand. It became started to become very definitive.
Hmm.
Sankhya means numbers. Everything is very like 12 of this and 4 of that, and you take 3 of that. This. So this is the philosophy of numbers. So it was the first effort to quantify everything. So they said Purusha and Prakriti is one of the main aspect of this philosophy, which talks about Purusha is the energy which manifests into something. So if you see a bulb light glowing, so the light, so make sure you don't just focus on the bulb and the light, because the bulb is not the creator of the light. It's the electricity which is passing through it. So if we very often we get distracted and we get stuck in the understanding that the bulb is creating the light. So that is where the definition, this defined Purusha, which is the energy source, and the Prakriti, which is the manifestation of everything around us. So this is the contribution of Samkhya, and it also talks about 3 different stages our mind works in. It's Sattvic, Rajasvic, Tamasic. So when things start to become very heavy and you cannot, from the state of very heaviness, slowness, uh, stuckness, you cannot suddenly become harmonious and clear. You have to go through the activism, like the action, to get into the state of sattvic. So everything becomes a process, everything becomes like a flow. You can see from all these aspects, whether even the moving from ignorance to consciousness, it was suggesting that you might not even get it happening in one lifetime, uh, because that just people wanted to define, because these people wanted to understand, okay, how can I define if a child is born with some illness, permanent life illness? Because they have something happening from before. Because if it is the energy, if it is not getting created or destroyed, so the energy is moving from one body to another. So that is the logic of rebirth and all started to come in here, where people might be having different ability and head start in the life, in for whatever reason, like whether they have some special skills or they're having with some disabilities, or so this philosophy started to become more definitive compared to more holistic and more flowy aspect of it. Then yoga became where it's not just talking part, we have to show that in action. So we have to, yoga became, how can I take a person, I explained all this, now how would I take this person on this journey? How can I make them more clear about their thoughts, how they can handle and be the controller of their life, not just being controlled by the situations or by the thoughts or by the um, uh, external factor. So the most key part of the yoga philosophy became, you can see my screen, no? I hope I can get more replies, or at least yes or no. It just motivates me as well. So
Yes, yes, we can see your screen.
yeah,
And we are
not
with
just
you.
here, yeah, thanks, but just other people how they are going, because otherwise it just I can see now when I attend some of these lecture, people say, oh, it feels like if I'm talking to a screen or something. So I would rather have like I'm talking to a few people who are interested in learning this.
And
Okay.
we can see you also. So,
Oh, wow, that I didn't know.
yeah, yeah, yes.
Okay, so that's beautiful. I thought it was just a screen share. Okay, so the key aim of yoga is Chitta Vritti Nirodha. Chitta Vritti Nirodha means to stop your mind continuously getting churned and into different aspect, because then you are approaching the same problem from different perspective, different um, not the information per se. It is more the apparatus itself is getting distorted. So you want to test the quality of the water, but imagine the bottle where you're going to put the water is already converting, is changing. Then the quality of the water is not able to be defined, because it's getting affected by the bottle's change of characteristics. So we want the vessel of what we are to be more stable, so that what ingredients come in becomes the way we handle will get more assertive, sure, clear, which then gives us the confidence, which will give us the power, the confidence which comes from repetitive and consistent performance. So say for example, if we wake up every day 5 o'clock, first time we would be feeling very uncertain, uncomfortable, but eventually, when we are doing it for 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, our confidence brings, because this is the repetition and the consistency we are doing. So if the chitta, if our mind is continuously in the flux, then the decisions we are making wouldn't come from a place of confidence, wouldn't come from a place of authority, wouldn't come from a place of even um, uh, belief in ourselves. Like we start to doubt ourselves, because this is also, it's not very sure. So strengthening that bit, the mind, because in to put an idea like in Indian understanding is, we consider mind to be like your fist, and your intellect is like a knife. So the fist has to be strong, not the knife. We now focus too much on the knife, but the knife can cut everywhere, but if the fist is not strong. So the mind has to be strengthened, so that the knife is cutting what we need to cut, dissect, understand. uh, so if otherwise, it becomes the mental health problem we are facing these days, because the knife is too sharp, but the fist is very weak. So that's the idea. So there are basic systems of strengthening that through yoga, yama, niyama, and about what you have to observe, like you have to do daily practice, because meditation is a very powerful practice. I'll share again in the future. There might be bits and pieces I might be referring to during this, because so that even if you miss one time, it gets strengthened into the next. So the meditation is one area where it kinds of, it's more like your feedback system. When you are relaxed, it's a computer is on waiting, it is doing its own defragmentation and cleaning the computer in the background. So similarly, the thoughts start to get quantified, categorized, all that, and you are also seeing, oh, I acted like this, but this is the repercussion of what I acted. So these are the steps to help you create a kind of a foundation where you can then build. If the foundation is weak, then you would have so if the foundation is weak, then the building you create would also be weak. So then you start with your physical body. So because you, to work on the subtler things, you have to work on the gross thing first. So your body is the most gross. So you have to make sure your body is in a beautiful state. And then you can go into more and more subtler thing. and towards the eventually connect to the energy source and connect to everything in the universe. So that's where so you make sure your body is well maintained, and then you work on your senses. So you're not taking rubbish, and you're like how you have to sort things. So pratyahara means one selected ahara, like what you're taking. Ahara is food, but it can be anything coming into your body. And then dharna becomes like a flow, constant flow. Like if you open a pipe, at one point there it doesn't make any noise, it's just flowing so beautifully. So that's the dhara. And then it becomes into dhyana. Then you have a very strong focus on the water flow, or on the aspect of thinking you wanted to do in. So that's the dhyana. You're observing, whether you're observing your own body, your mind, anything. Then the dhyana, that leads you to the samadhi. So you are very critically analyzing yourself, and the surrounding, and anything you think you want to bring it into your attention, and you go into a state where it doesn't like makes you uncomfortable, unstill, because you are in the state where your mind is very calm and in peace with the situation. Say, for example, I've been doing cooking for like 10 years. So any situation, whether the utensil falls, or the gas runs out, or power goes, or somebody is not happy with my food, it won't trigger me, because my brain has calibrated all eventualities which could happen. So that's this kind of the state of liberation, or which the action is not triggering you. So if I was cooking for the first time, imagine what would be my mind state. I would be suddenly thinking, oh, what if my food is going wrong? What if somebody says negative about this? What if there's no gas? So everything is agitating, which is taking away the energy from my effort in cooking itself. Even if it's bits or whatever, people are in different levels of self understanding and self awareness. But that uh, aim is to strengthen yourself in a way, with that gap we were discussing before, to optimize yourself, to interact with the world and with yourself in much more deeper and consistent way. Then these philosophies started to develop, Nyaya and Visheshika. Nyaya is, there's even a big philosophy on how to argue, how to discuss, because people started to, you can see the culture is developing, people are coming with a lot more opinion. People say, no, God is there, not there, soul is there, not there. Then they said, let's define how to even argue. So there is a Nyaya Shastra, which is about how to argue. So you don't discuss, you stick to the topic. How do you bring a reference? How do you not attack a person who is saying it has to be staying on to the topic? How far can you move from the topic? What type of references can you bring? Like, is it only observational reference? Is it a reference of somebody of authority you can bring? There are about 5 ways of bringing knowledge. So they started to define. So it just helped into, again, quantifying, qualifying the type of discussions, the type of understanding. So it doesn't go, because people were also, as you can understand, once they got into village life, they were less aware of themselves, because there's a lot of social logics and social rules and social way of living, expectation from your elders, expectation from the society, that they were not self-aware. They became less and less self-aware. So people would bring out more thoughts. Oh, this is how the God is, and worship here, or do this, or put this money here, or do this charity here. So they were all distracted. So again, there was effort to bring the way to bring into yourself, like bring into, so that you have enough understanding, time, resourcefulness to go more deeper into yourself. Because we are also playing with one very challenging thing, which is our own mind, which is a very deceptive. Say, for example, why the reason why the knife have to be held in a strong arms is, like, if the mind is very weak, it can decide to go in either way. So if very strange, like one thought which is coming around Republicans in America, 24% were before the war, only 24% were agreeing to war with Iran. And once Trump started the war, 86% is agreeing with the war. So that means their intellect is very weak. They are not standing with the mind themselves. They can be persuaded. So this is the time, I think one of the easiest persuasion. People are just flowing with what ad comes in, what food they are being told, what. So it's in a very flux situation. The danger of that is that they can be swayed in good direction, but they can also be swayed in very wrong direction. So these kind of systems were brought in to bring some kind of a validation, because um, luckily at that time there was people in power, like there were kingdom and people of that knowledge and wisdom trying to recreate, regroup and recalibrate the thought process, the ideologies and understanding, so that we continue to stay in the path of wisdom and growth. Um, this Visheshika is another thought where they started to go into more detail, like more, because we were always talking about very broad things. Then they started to analyze what are the key properties which is there in the universe, but not there in the human. Because they were saying, while it's all same and one, but there's some difference in a human which is different to universe. The properties of the universe has a property of creation and destruction. The human also has similar property. The universe has a property of vibration. The human also has a property of vibration, of moving from matter to energy. Like when we think of when anything matters, it becomes matter to us. You understand? I hope you understand. So we start with energy as universe, and once that energy becomes material, like it becomes important for us, we materialize that. So, I mean, for everything, whether it's herbs, that's why we have all these properties of Ayurveda. We have these are all the basics of when we started. What are the qualities? What are the actions? So, because the group is getting more intellectual, more cohesive, I mean, more bigger. So, these are the problems which Indian culture system got into. So, you can see how not only from the aspect of the how the culture is developing, we are thinking we have been like India is now classified as developing country. But if you think of these levels, these are the level the modern society are yet to reach of thought process, where we are collectively coming to consensus. And we, like Netherlands, like now European Scandinavian countries are coming towards where they would like to vote every issue. So these are the logics which Nyaya and Visheshika and all are talking at very older times. So, and Mimamsa is another way of diversing, is that, okay, let's just, why to not, if everything is so beautifully like godlike, let's worship everything. Let's worship a car, let's worship a flower, let's worship a individual, intellectual, in a every aspect, a house for that matter. Like you have all this rich, like sacred action to then continuously remind. So that's why India, we also went into a lot of this what you call andhvishwas or blind following, that you bring a car and then you have to put a lemon under the wheel, so that to take away all the negative energy. And so there were all these ritualistic to, I mean, imagine the dimension of the mind of people, from very intellectual to very farmer-like or very novice, if we say. So it catered to a huge level of spectrum of people's thought to some people. You cannot start intellectually. You might have to, like a school kid in a nursery, you have to give them toys. You have to give them actions to, so that before you take them to deeper books and philosophical thoughts, you have to bring their attention to something which is visual, which is very quantifiable. So this is how the system Mimamsa is the reasons why we have all these actions of Ghar Ka Puja. And then this also helped into things like what you call direction of the house. And there's that philosophy. I'm losing the name. So, yeah, so this is where Mimamsa philosophy is. And then there are other, which is going non-Vedic schools, are the ones which doesn't follow God itself. They don't believe in the concept of God. It just like soul is there. Buddhism doesn't believe in God or soul. It just believes in the self. Jainism is, again, it also started to become like one person leading. Monotheism, we call, like when Jesus and all that. These are the also development, because there are bigger and bigger groups. Then people became authority figure who would bring out these knowledges. And this would be in the early part of, like towards the late of the century, late of the BC, in the early ADs, when people were coming out with like similar to Jesus, who came out with their philosophy to see how to rectify the imbalance. Because people, the less they are connected with their own self, that would be always the problem. People would be getting more and more swayed. We spend very little time into self-discovery, self-analysis, understanding. And even the problem is that the society also discourages being aware and self-evolve, intellectualizing. And because it then makes the management harder for the people in the top. Because if you imagine, if you have three kids behaving their own way, you would ask them to discipline themselves. Just try to sit there, eat your food. That's basically you're cutting down their individual self exploration in some sense. And it happens from every level. From our own personal level, we say, oh, no, no, I shouldn't be doing this. I shouldn't. We are cutting that from that level to our family, to society. Every level we have been channelizing. It is good if we have to stay as a society and to mobilize a society. But the problem is that in that what we are giving up is self. We are losing ourselves in that process. So more faster and like systematically the system works. If there is not enough space for self think, then the whole society and that system will start to collapse. So Charvak is the boldest, is the most funniest, which is very like similar to capitalism, where you are saying that you borrow and enjoy life. You don't believe anything which is not being seen by your eyes. So it's as clear like just have fun. So that's also the reason it's not very long lasted. But it's also like a very option is that what you believe, that's also, if people go all the way in this philosophy also, they can find, discover themselves. But the problem is they don't go all the way, they'll just enjoy. But when the challenges come, they cannot stand up and face it up, or accept the truth. That's when the challenge happens. It's not so much of what philosophy we follow, but if we can follow all the way, we might be going into trenches, challenges, but eventually we will come out stronger. Like even there's a story of Buddha went and met, like was passing through a jungle, and he met a person called uh, or somebody, I think, um, Angulimar. He used to kill people and hang their thumbs in his necklace. So he was planning to kill 100 people or something, or some story like that. But because his philosophy was like kill, was so strong in his mind that it's so they are the Buddha or some saintly person asked him to just repeat that, just repeat mar, 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 mar. And it eventually became Ram, 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 Ram. Because he just said, as long as you can, because he was asked to go to your house and ask your family member, do you also take the responsibility for all the negative things I'm doing? Because he said, I'm doing it for my family. Am I telling the story backward, friend? Anyway, so So this person went home and asked his family, and they said, we are not in for all the things you're doing. So you're bringing the money and all the things for us. It's good, but we are not part of the crime you're doing. So he decided, no, I'll stop all that. And he decides to, the Buddha or somebody asked him to calm your mind and handle your mind first. So he's asked to say, because you love the word mar, the kill, so much, let's repeat that itself. So he repeated that so many times that that word became so different for him. So the logic is that you go in your path, you trust the path, you go all the way, and you'll come on the other side very different and stronger. So that's the trust we need to have. We start the journey and we let it go halfway. It's like the weak wrist holding the knife. The intellectual take power, and then we'll start losing the game. So Tantra is a very opposite philosophy, questioning everything. Let's what happens if there is God, and that means the opposite start creating. When we define anything, the opposite is created automatically. That's the problem. That's why Tao and Zen, and they don't want to classify. The more we classify, more language will come. More we good, there will be bad, evil. If heaven, then there is something opposite to that. What's not heaven? Hell. Or if there's a beautiful girl, then has to be ugly girl. Or there's a intelligent person, then there has to be a dumb person. So the Tantra said, no, we won't be worshipping God. We will be worshipping the opposite, and let's see what happens then. They started to worship devil, the opposite energy of the. If Shiva is very powerful, we will worship Shakti, which is the feminine energy, the softness. This one we'll worship the unseen. We will worship what is seen. We'll go more ritualistic. So there is very opposite way, but Tantra also again has some we call as black magic, which is the byproduct of this, which it was used for negative aspects also. But Tantric also have gained so much of power, the divinity, and there are temples which also brings. So you can see the spectrum of the Indian philosophical understanding through all this. So the problem now is that if we lose the picture, like this is kind of the first philosophical argument brought in about the elephant. And if we just see one part of the elephant, say, for example, I was doing some painting here. So if we just see, imagine we are only seeing, this is the elephant. No, I hope you can see my screen still. So if you just see, this is the medical science. If you say this is the medical science, we only see this leg. And we are saying this is the scope of medical science. The problem with that is because we are focusing on this leg, no matter what research we do, we cannot see the elephant. That's the problem. Like if I say breathing in is a science, breathing out is a separate science. You don't have to worry about breathing out science. You just worry about breathing in science. So there's no way that person would understand the whole aspect of lung function if they are only focusing on one aspect. So that's the reason why we have to see the whole truth. The effort has to be there, whether it's medical science, whether it's there, that you have to see, but I'm not whole without the trees, because what I'm breathing out, the trees are breathing in, and that is breathing out is what we are breathing in. So the tree has to be in part of the learning of health. And if tree is part of the health, then our mind is, then what I think of God or whatever, that has to be encompassed. The drugs I take, the medicines I take, the whole aspect of how somebody is caring for somebody, the whole aspect has to embrace into the medical system. But if we just take just the body as the problem, that's the problem now. Even menopause is not being talked so well in the medical system. And it's all been acknowledged, but that becomes the problem of proper understanding to see the elephant. And then no matter how much dollar, like my wife spends a lot of money in cancer care and all this research, but I'm sure that the reason why I doubt those research is because it's not holistic. It's not been seen from an angle of completeness. If they have already defined this leg is the science, then it is very hard for them to go out of the science, because that would then not be acknowledged by the scientific community itself. So that brings the big limitation of the modern researches. Should we take a small break? Anything you want to ask, or just like? Or are you just listening like a story, or uh, I hope, yeah, some ideas and thoughts and all. Any questions, or should I continue?
I'm really enjoying it, and yes,
Michael, from you. Are you liking it? Michael, you could understand me? Okay.
Yeah, this is awesome. I love it.
Ah,
This
okay.
is also good. Yeah.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, it's really good.
So I'll continue with my.
Yep.
So I'm back to the step of it. The idea of my effort of this is to bring everything into perspective. You'll see Ayurveda also in a different angle from this perspective. So here, where like these are the core thing, everything is running around. If you understand the logic, it's so deep. It's hard for us to even see why these are so powerful and so thought about. Like when I do yoga, like when you go to gym and you have all this equipment which is distracting you, but you can do yoga, Surya Namaskar. The gym might give you, oh, this thing for this muscle, it might handle like 12 muscle sets. Then this is for 4 muscle set or 6 muscle set. But Surya Namaskar, if you do, it is handling 350 muscles plus, like your eyeballs. You can see those steps. Your toes are working, your like feet, and so much, including your digestion, including your nervous system. While most, if you go to gym all that time and all you did is muscular system, you still have to take care of your bone health. You have to take care of your nervous system. You have to take care of your digestive system. So who is doing that? So I mean, the enormity of understanding the ancient people had, we just totally lost it. It's we have to put a lot of effort to. I mean, our brain is already so segmented. We don't have the caliber to think more than 5 minutes or 10 minutes at a time now. So it's very, very, very challenging. It would be looking like, oh, it's all old philosophy, nothing to understand from that. But like these are the 6 elements we have. It talks about the 5 elements. Each part of our body needs each part to be taken care of. That's all. We don't have to worry about, oh, this is an skin has a 6 layers of skins and this, because it's like if you have to drive a bike, all you are in this planet is to enjoy a good bike ride. So to understand a good bike ride or eat a mango, you don't have to go into the details of every, this is what you call curcumin, and this is the skin has this colostrum and this and that. All you take care is the how to enjoy the bike. The bike is serviced, bike is taken care, bike is given the right food, means right fuel, is being kept in the right place. If you can take care of that, and especially with human, like the bike cannot repair itself. But imagine if you have a good mechanic with you, you don't have to worry about every part of the bike to have a good bike ride. So similarly in your body, especially with it calibrating and rectifying, you have a 50 mg tablet, your body is aware of it. You can see like your body is calibrating for that just 50 mg for the 70 kg body or 80 kg, 100 kg. Our body, 50 grams is being, the body is so aware. So we are dealing with super spacecraft, and we take it in a way that it is like really like we put all garbage and all that, but that's separate. So we need to make sure we give the body ether space, which is the meditation breaks, so that it harmonizes. The purpose of ether is to harmonize. So it reset, because it's all like a mixture. So you put all this dough, everything, then you have to leave it for 1 hour, 2 hour. So it's the taste is absorbed. You cook something, you leave it for half an hour. So taste is absorbed between. So the ether process does the harmonizing. Air process does the moving. So breathing, exercise. So if your body has been very stall, stagnant, so you have to bring in more air. So you have to make sure the breathing levels are increased. Pranayama, many ways to do that. The earth is the nourishing part. So if your body has something lack, bring the earth part, give it good food, grounding things, and things like that, which will help the nourishing part. Water is the pacifying part. So pacifying is something is agitated, something you say somebody is very angry. What do? Give them a glass of water. So that has a pacifying nature of something. So if you're feeling very tired, you went in a very hot day, what do? Go for a cold shower. Yeah. So all this makes sense. So your food, if your body needs pacifying, so what type of food you should have, whether it's Ayurveda or non-Ayurveda, whatever, whether it's naturopath and this and that, 100 types, go common sense, go basics, and you will understand whether it's emotions or anything, it is that what is required. If it's transformation required, if there is a change required, then the fire element is to be there. You have to have a bit, no, I'll go for that. I'll do that. Imagine a Olympic level athlete doesn't have fire in him. How can he push his body to gain more energy and more do some things, transformation? If a business owner doesn't have fire in him, if a entrepreneur or a child doesn't have, if a human doesn't have a fire in him, he'll be dead. So it's all beautifully so deep, that, and it goes all across. It's not just body or mind or spirit. It's that fluidity. It's the universe, the human, the male, female, the child, the water, I mean, it's a beautiful symphony happening. That's what I meant to wanted to share. We are living in that, and where we are seeing different manifestation happening. Like it's like some dancer jumps and suddenly there's some flowers, and so some flower coming up, and that's all the beauty there for us to enjoy, rather than wasting time in our own complexity. Make our life simple, make our life very so strongly, the mind is strong and stable, that you can enjoy all the beauty. Everywhere you can see beauty, whether it's your wife getting upset, or whether your child having a nap for longer or not studying well. It's all different manifestation of nature. Then the idea is it's like so you might need the structure, but that structure shouldn't govern you. Like now the problem of whether Muslim religion, they take that ideology, the clothing becomes the bottleneck or something. Just free yourself, whether it's religion, books, right, wrong, everything. You can slowly get rid of this structure once the building is ready. Once the idea of all this, you wouldn't be carrying your year 2 book or year 3 book when you're full grown adult, because you have embraced it. You don't need a Buddha statue outside in your house. You want the Buddha statue within you. So you have to embrace the things so that you grow, so that you don't have to be good girl, good boy pleasing. And no, you are you. And that there is enough space in the nature. Otherwise, the nature wouldn't have created you. There's no space. Oh, no, that tree. If that is meant to be cut short, that still stays as a beauty. Socrates was saying, give me the what you call the poison. I'm ready for it. So it's like that. But that beauty has still shown. So as a human in this planet, I think we all have that basic responsibility and requirement to just at least what can you give back to nature? I cannot give $100 to the church or to the temple or something, or give a. So the beauty would come from me manifesting myself in that beautiful way, in that understanding way, in that embracing way, where there is that collective nature. Because otherwise the spirit is getting misaligned. So now you see, the body has to be aligned, so you have a rhythm, you have a discipline. Your mind has to be aligned, so you have a right thought process. The spirit has to be aligned, so you are in collaboration with what the universe is working with. Then you do anything, how can you do wrong? There's no way. What you're doing is what the universe is working, because the universe is touching you every second. So then you would let go of excessive speaking, excessive action, bondages, anything, everything. It's a process. I mean, nobody here is claiming, it's just like a work in process. And that's why it says, oh, it might take some, like however time it takes. It is a beautiful journey, because you're not just getting the result at the end of it. Every step you're moving, you can see the bliss in you, the peace in you, the connection with the surroundings. Everything start to be even more better. So the main thing is never self-abandon yourself. So this is a very big problem in the society today. We are wasting our lot of time to be a good girl, good boys, to please other people. So make sure we are not doing that. We have to have, if we haven't practiced how to say no, or how to do something in a different way, where it is in a balance. So I'm not asking anybody to just go off totally. And yeah, so it's more like, at any point, whether self-abandonment comes, even I used to notice one self-abandonment coming one was, when somebody shouting at me or getting upset with me, especially my kids sometimes get, like there was a period, but now we are improved our relationship. So it is not the kid getting upset. I am self-abandoning myself. I feel that, oh, that time when the son is saying something, no, that's like me putting a bar, not for just for himself, but for myself also. I don't want to see the soul who is not having the capacity to handle this response of the nature, and wanting to preserve itself in that small game, is where the problem was. So if I hadn't self-abandoned it, this information would have passed through me as anything else in the nature, and would have not affected me, because I am self-abandoning myself is where the problem is created. So then these are beautiful, very wonderful books which compromises. Like if you want to know more, um, talk talk to me in the questions. I can explain you. Gita just means songs. So this is the book. There are all type of books. I was born as, I was not born as Christian. I embraced Christianity through my family when I was young. Um, but the problem is, this starts to define in a very logical way, because there's a lot of things you have to believe. Even I'm not saying Bible and all wouldn't take you the right way, but you have to totally believe. The problem today with the intellectual development, it is very hard for me to believe, oh, the world was created in 7 days, or some logic around that. So for, if I totally can engage myself in total trust, any journey would take me to the other side. But we don't have that courage because of the way we are living, or the intellect. So Gita in that sense gives a lot of logical aspect, which a developed intellectual mind can also still embrace. And this is a dialogue of between Krishna and Arjuna when they were in the war field. There is no way they can talk about a whole book, which is not very big, 174 lines or something, but it still talks about a lot of these mind challenges which we face, like should I, shouldn't I, is this right or is this wrong? So it's a dialogue. So there's websites also where, or 700 verses, sorry. So there are verses which explains those dilemma which Arjun was going through, and how Krishna is trying to answer from very different levels of um, thought process. So we might be at a level of physical identification, or it might be at the level of mental identification, or we can be in different in our life period. So this handles from very different levels of understanding. And this is a book which I think is a very beautiful book, which then again summarizes it all together. This is Ashtavakra Gita. So this person was eight limbs, like he had a lot of disability, but he was kind of also the person who talks to a king, and see the king is still he was a very, very powerful and beautiful king, but he still was very wise enough to be able to take wisdom from people of caliber. So just put a small bit of this. It then
pass through. Number 4, glorification of self-realization. Janaka said, surely one who knows self, though he plays the game of life, differs greatly from the world's bewildered, burdened beasts. Truly, the yogi feels no elation, though he abides in the exalted state, yearned for by Indra and all the discontented gods. Surely one who knows that is not touched by virtue or vice, just as space is not touched by smoke, though it appears to be. Who can prevent the great soul, who knows the universe? You.
But I don't recommend this one straight. Like, I mean, if you feel like when your mind is totally like the structure is about to be removed. So I showed you the picture of the structure. So when the building is about ready, then you can use this book as kind of removing those structures, which is holding the scaffolding, we call, I think, scaffolding. Okay, so it then integrates. That's the idea. So that's it from me, I think. Yeah. So it's beautiful. The more I'm not talking from the perspective of going deep into philosophical way, but integrating ideally that's again the beauty. I'll show you another thing. It's not like first time they are knowing about all the planets, everything. We only worship 9 grahas, Navagraha, which include Sun, Moon, Jupiter, Saturn, Mars, Venus. So these are the basic reason why, because we have to worry of what influences us. Because for us, the universe, we are the center, we are Brahman. We are the universe. If I close my eyes, my universe is gone. We all carry our own universe. So what is most important is you and your understanding and your perspective, the creation. That creation, the understanding has to be the more complete it is, the better. It's not good enough to know there's water in the moon or some information which is not going to affect you as much. So what directly affects you is the most closest to me is my body. So I have to take care of my body. The next level might be my knowledge, my understanding, clarity, and then next level, my family. It has to go in that way, because I used to not worry. I used to, like, my mind used to be, I want to do a lot of things and didn't want to focus on myself first. Didn't want to focus on my family first. So that's not how it can work. It has to work with that soul, that point, center point, which is you, is the source of all the action. And that action is then spiraling, like it's like you're putting a stone into the water, where it's just spreading outward. So focus on yourself, understand, use all this knowledge. I don't want you to restrict yourself into any specific, oh, now I'm learning all about Ayurveda or learning about Indian philosophies, or no, everything. There's gold in everywhere. Every person has the wisdom from child to adult. Gain it all, like listen and try to make your own clarity around what works. And we also have a lot of these blockages. So that's another problem where we have segmented our thought. Okay, this is about my work. This is about my. People say that it has to all be compartmentalized, but there is only so much you can do, because as a human, you would then not be connecting with you if you are handling in these compartments. Then you would lose yourself sooner or later. So that's all my thought. I think I've gone over 1 hour. So would anybody wants you to? So yeah, this is what I said. Okay, Christina is saying about Kirtan. Yeah, I'm not again prophesizing on any particular, including Indian understanding or anything. I'm just wanting you to have that greater kind of awareness, so you grow out from everything. Everything is supporting you, still you are not part of everything. So whether it's religion, thoughts, beliefs, move on from everything. It's just like a stepping stone, supporting you, and go back and refer to it wherever and whenever you need them to. Yeah. Sorry, I mean, sorry for like, if you like to ask anything. Or...
You don't need to be sorry for anything.
No.
It was really good and
It's
and
good.
a lot of food for thought, and a lot. And this is just the beginning. You've just touched upon things, and for us to take it up and go wherever we can go with it,
Yeah.
and as deep as we want. So a couple of things quickly.
Yeah.
You gave, and your examples are really, really nice. And you gave the example of fist and the knife. Clarify, because you said that the mind is the
Fist.
fist.
But that's holding the intellect. And intellect, we call it as uh, manas. Manas is the mind or chitta, and buddhi is the intellect. So intellect is the one where we analyze, dissect, logics, and
So that is the fist, right? Then what
no,
is
it's separate. The intellect part, say for example, my buddhi has weakness. So I see my buddhi saying this person is bad. So intellect will then recreate the analogy why this person is bad. It was not part of the mind before. It's the intellect's job to create and hold you in balance and give you justification, clarification. It can, so it would even dissect and bring a wrong analogy. Like Trump might feel he's doing a great job because the thing which is holding his intellect is not very strong.
Yeah,
So
okay. So when we are, say, somebody is getting brainwashed, it is the intellect which is being impacted
yeah, because of the weak mind. So
because
the
of the weak
intellect,
mind.
yeah, intellect is then feeding into mind.
Mind, yes.
Yeah.
Right.
But the analysis part of it, the processing part of it is done by the intellect, which is
Yes.
separate from mind. You can think as a repository, whatever that is, where like it's like the holding of all the experiences you had, all the beliefs you have, all the results you had. But intellect is the one which is like your CPU, which is taking out decision making. Like, okay, this is right.
Yeah, that's clear now. Thank you so much. And the other one you said about body should be aligned so that mind should be aligned. You said 3 sentences. So I guess, do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so body is like the physical structure, which is about eating, and so you start to have discipline to go do yoga or exercise and eat right food and have patience to say no in things you don't want to. So then it will support your mind. Mind will be like your thought process has to be like because you're physically sitting for meditation, it will slowly improve your mind, and then the mind will help to understand the spirit, because like Hitler was good in body and mind, but he was not good in spirit. Or like Trump is possibly, like, you might be having good sleep good support, but you can be lost in not being aligned with the universe. So the effort you're putting might not bring result in, because the nature, because everybody is starting to become against you. It's because it's in, he started with in beautiful, like he's in a very mental state. I'm very ready for the fight and all that, but spiritually not aligned with nature. That's not how nature works. Nature works on trust. Nature works on support, on giving. Like if you see that. So body, mind, and spirit, all three have to go in. So for spirit to go, you can read books, like good books, or again through the meditation, if you're getting more clarity, stick with that. Trust that clarity you are getting. Those kind of things are, be in the good company of people who can support that. Those are the ways to support your spiritual growth.
Yeah, like I'm doing right now. So spirit should be aligned so that it supports the universe or nature, right?
No, you
That is
then
what-
that means it gives you freedom. The idea is all this is ultimately working to get you the freedom. Freedom means, like, say you are now, we are putting a lot of effort. Is okay, I want to just enjoy the ride. Yeah, imagine I'm doing bike ride. I want to just enjoy the ride. I don't want to worry about what's happening. Is my fuel enough, or my petrol tank is blocking, or so those worries will go away. Because if your mind, body, and spirit is aligned, you are working with the universe. Whether the world accepts it or not, you are not going to, you are not thinking of hurting other people. You are not thinking about destroying anything. You are thinking about building. You are thinking about expansion. You are thinking about growth. You are thinking about, so these are all what universe is doing. And sooner or later, people might be against you and giving you challenges, but you would be winning, because the nature ultimately would support. That is the way. We might not accept it now, but sooner or later, that's how it will end up as.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Yes, thank you very much. So, yeah, do you hold any regular classes, or this is the one-off thing that you have done?
I haven't thought about a regular class, because I don't want to also it to get more intellectualized. So even if I have, I would want it to spaced out. So people are doing self-discovery, and they are coming back. Okay, let's do. It's not like me asking. It's like the group asking. Okay, if we want to do something more, okay, let's do. So I can. It's like, because everybody's journey is different.
Different, that's right.
So it's like you asking, I want to go to Melbourne. Not me say, oh, let's go to Melbourne. Then again, I'm doing something, I'm creating, not like, it's not disciple. There's a difference between disciple and followers. Just like, that's not what anybody wants, if you ask even Jesus.
That's true, but you have these slides prepared. That means you are like sort of wanting to share, and you are ready with it, and you have put in effort and time into it. So what I'm trying to say is that if there is a group or something which is regularly doing something, even if it is a paid group, that is fine as well. Please let me know about that, and I would be happy to be a part of that and to
It
discuss.
can also be simpler, can be also like a chat session. Hello, Maria. Nice to see you.
So I can have a little look now to you.
Thank you.
I want to say really thank you. It was a very, very deep topic, but I like to share what I've taken out, so that probably you feel that I was listening, and also I have been learning.